Hi everybody, welcome back to your creative coffee break video for today. And today I thought I would do something a little fun and different, and that is we are going to make some stamps out of pink erasers. I have gotten completely addicted to making these, and in fact, in the past week I've made a whole bunch of I've got some Halloween theme ones here. So I've got a jack-o'-lantern, a pair of pumpkins, a pumpkin that says boo, and a cat. And I got so caught up doing these that my husband decided to get in on the action and he made even more complicated ones. And if you know my husband, that adds up. He did an eek with some very fun letters. He did a spider web, a very creepy eyeball, and a spider. And yeah, we're just hooked on this. As you can see from my inky hands, I've been playing around a little before I started recording. Actually, I did record and had problems with my camera and it didn't capture it. So this is round 2 of this recording, and hopefully this time it goes better. So let's get over here to the supplies and I'll show you what we're gonna do. So all we need for this are some pink erasers, like the kind you used in school, and some carving tools. So this is a set of block printing tools by Speedball. This is just a beginner set. It's very handy because all the little nibs just get stored in here. And it comes with 2 V gouges, 2 half circles, and then one like little fine knife tool. So that's handy. And I have a stamp pad. And what I thought I would do for my design today is I'd take some inspiration from these little cats that I was sketching these last week. And obviously I need to make it fit on a very small space, so they're going to be pretty little, but that's okay. And I have found that on my stamps, in general, the stamps come out better if I do leave a border around them like this. When I tried, like for the pumpkins, I tried to go borderless, but I just found it didn't work well for me. So I'm gonna plan to keep a border, and I'm gonna make a really quick little drawing here on the size that I've traced, excuse me, just to make sure that I can make this fit. And I think I'm gonna go with this silhouette, if I can make it little enough. It's gonna be pretty little, but that's okay, I think. So I'm gonna just start with the big shapes of the cat, which is kind of its body, and then because if its body doesn't fit, then there's really no point here. And I think it's maybe too big. Oh, good thing I have an eraser handy. All right. So let's try that again. I want its little ears and its head to fit. And now I have some sense of where I went wrong. So it's going to be a pretty small cat. I think that's all right. As long as I print the stamp, we can tell that it's a cat. It can be pretty little, I would say. So let's carve this. And what I just want to do is and of course, it's just exaggerate those ears going to be a silhouette. I have done a couple of other cat stamps. Just make him fit on there. Okay. What I've learned, I think that's going to work pretty okay. Is it's a little. You really want You really
Well,
want the
all right, you
ears
know
to
what? This
show
is
like that.
creative play, and we are just gonna
All right, so just
we are just gonna
strengthen my
roll with
line
it.
there.
So what I need to do to
And I've
transfer
got my
this
tool here.
onto
What
my
I'm gonna
eraser,
do is first carve
it's pretty
around my main
simple. I
shape
just
and
need
probably carve
to
my border. Um, and then
kind of
I'll scoop out the big areas. Obviously, this tool is super sharp,
darken up
so we
the
don't want to,
outline,
we want to keep our
and then
hand
I'm
behind it.
gonna place this.
And in fact,
Let's
as
see if
you're
I can see
going
through it.
here,
So
you can
obviously this
turn
would
the
have maybe worked better
eraser
on tracing paper,
and that's really helpful. But to be honest, I've made that pretty dark on there.
so just kind of guiding the
So
eraser and
I'm just
gently
going to take a
pressing
letter
on
opener and just kind
the
of
carving tool.
press it and just make that
And I just find this
drawing. This is just
so
really,
fun.
you
Like,
know,
I mean, I think
printer
these
paper.
little stamps
Ah, success. So that was pretty easy, right?
can be used to make
Okay. So
patterns
now as we
on
can see,
cards
my
or
drawing is
um,
reversed.
gift
Look how this
tags,
works.
or
And
you could use them
now,
as like
bam,
hand
we can
stamps at a
carve.
kid's
What's
party.
next?
Just so much fun potential here. And when I'm done carving this one and I stamp it for you, I'll show you some of the others I've made in the past week. As I said, I mean, my husband saw me doing this and he just like had to get in on the action. It's so irresistible. Makes you feel like a kid again, for sure. I'm thinking maybe on Halloween I'll take the stamps to school, and kids who make it sort of prizes. Like, in, I teach high school. What I can tell you is even high school students have not outgrown being given stickers for a reward. My students always find it very amusing to get stickers. So maybe on Halloween, instead of stickers, they'll get a stamp in their notebook. All right, so here's where it's going to be tricky. I have these pretty little shapes. If I want the stance of this cat to show up, I have to be really careful around its legs because there is some space in between the leg that's closest to us and the one that's further away. And there's a little space between um, the two front legs. So I'm going to be nice and careful. And, just take little cuts at a time. Like, there's no reason to take massive sweeping motions. You can just carve it out in little bits, and that is totally fine. And okay, I think I got the front leg one pretty good. I need to make a little back leg space. Ooh, that might have done it. Okay, so one thing you can do is you can actually make the stamp where you just kind of outline the object. In fact, let's print this one and just see what it looks like. You can see I've got my test page over here. I printed these during video one, the video that you're not going to see because it didn't work. Ah, technology. All right, so let's just see how this stamp is shaping up. All right, so you can see that looks kind of cool, but because I carved out in between its feet, I'm gonna have to go and carve out the rest. And I haven't done a great job with the ears, admittedly. Oh well, I'm still having a good time. And there's actually kind of an advantage to inking the eraser, and that is that now as you carve away, anything that's pink, isn't going to print, and anything that is black is. So it's actually like really handy um, sometimes to just go ahead and ink up the stamp. And I know I said I was going to leave a border, but I don't think I am because if I do, the ears won't stick up enough. I told you those ears. So once you take the pink, once you carve something away, there's no getting it back. So you have to be really careful with what you're carving. And I'm probably more careful when I'm not narrating as I go. You know what? I'm going to get a bigger tool here. So this, as I mentioned, this is a pretty handy little set. And go with this, not that one, this one. No, sorry, I'm figuring out figuring out what I'm doing. That's a V. V. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one and see. This might be too big. Whatever, we're gonna try it. Yeah, this will make it go a little speedier for me. Speed isn't the goal of creative coffee breaks, but obviously, when you have a limited amount of time, there's no there's no time to waste either. So I'm not trying to hurry, but I am trying to do the whole project in, about 30 minutes. And if I hadn't pre-drawn the shape of the cat on a piece of paper, that could have been a little faster, but I knew it was going to be hard to fit. So I think that was time really well spent. Um, Having done a few of these, you can absolutely just draw your pencil design straight onto the eraser. But funnily enough, once you draw on an eraser, you can't erase the lead off of the eraser. Isn't that a funny little paradox? So once you draw it on there, it's on there. Although on the flip side, once you draw it on there, you could always ink over the whole thing and then like switch to using a white like pastel pencil or something, and you could draw your design on top of the blackened pad, and that would also work. So, where there's a will, there's a way. So, and as I said, I'm losing the border because I lost the border. So, I'll try to print this one borderless. And I'm trying really hard to remember to go away from my fingers. Um, the stamps are so little, the erasers, that it is kind of hard, but I don't want to form bad habits because you know what's next. I am absolutely going to try some lino cutting of larger um, linoleum blocks. I actually have just ordered some from Blick and I cannot wait until they get here because, guys, I should have put this back on. Um, I just have had such an absolute blast making these stamps that feel that I must explore the possibilities of lino cut block printing. And of course, because I am a fan of the Sky TV program Landscape Artist of the Year, now I'm also thinking about the times when they have um, printmakers working on plein air. And I'm thinking, oh, could I make prints on plein air? Like, I love to be making art outside. How cool would that be? Right, I'm getting ahead of myself because I've literally, the closest I've come to doing any block printing is these silly little stamps, but dream big, dream big. Okay. All right. Now I'm being extra careful here because I'm down to my fine details and I don't want to accidentally slip. Just want to get it just right. Yeah, switching to the bigger gouge really was the right call though, because this would take me forever and a day with that little detail one. All right. This tail too fat? Maybe a little. Some people I've heard use tweezers sometimes to pull out the fine bits if they're stuck. What I do, I keep a little, I have this chip brush here, and I use it to clean up all my eraser bits, and I just sweep them up. I have a little cupcake liner here, and I'm just keeping them out of the way. All right, let's try and see if our cat has taken shape. Okay, so we've got it here. Now you can see where there's going to be some little bits of stray ink, but give it a give it a go. Okay, so I've got a little cleaning up to do, but I think it's pretty cute. All right, let's clean up some of these bits that picked up ink. And so again, this is the beauty of test printing it is you see like, oh, okay, those high spots um, between the kind of peaks and valleys. We want more valleys and less peaks. I would say especially in here where I'm right up against the cat, I don't want to have stray peaks. Further away from the cat, it's less bothersome to me. But yeah, let's just carve away and see if we can get a cleaner print from this guy. I do think it's kind of cute. You know, and if I were doing this, not as a coffee break, I might do a more nuanced design or something that's not just a silhouette. But I gotta say, the simple silhouettes are awfully satisfying. And it really is so fun to just end up with a stamp. Okay, I have to be a little careful in here. Okay. Oh, there. I really don't want to lose the ear, but I have too much close to my cat. Okay. So this should print cleaner this time. Just send that away too. Part of it is how I'm pressing down on it for sure, because um, because as I press it onto the stamp pad, I think this is where the border comes in, and why I said a border is a good idea is that when you have a border, it gives you an edge to press against. And if you don't have a border, you have to just kind of like guess where to press, and it's going to make it kind of imprecise. But here we go. Press it down on there. Oh, I've picked up even more ink over here. But that's a much cleaner print. All right, it's kind of too bad that one of his little ears is stubby, but I think I'm going to leave him alone. And as I said, I would show you the collection I've got going on here. You have a sense of it from that page. But I've got a whole Halloween theme going, and I've had such a blast with this. This was the very first one I made, a pumpkin and a boo. Now, if you decide to put words on here, don't forget that the words have to be backwards. When you make the print, it's going to be opposites. So I made a pumpkin, and then I thought I would do a cat. So my second one was a cat. And, you know, he could use a little refining, but I think he's pretty cute. And then I went back to pumpkins. I did some more pumpkins. So I did a jack-o'-lantern using, trying to think of good stamps that can be vertical because you get a lot of vertical room. And I do like how that came out. For the jack-o'-lantern too, I tried to make the indentations, the dark bit, like for this pumpkin, that it's kind of like a reverse image. The shadows are actually white and the pumpkin is black. So here I tried to swap it. And then this is the first borderless one I tried. And as you can see, not super borderless, but I do like the pumpkins. They're so rustic. And then here's a vertical cat that I did um, in the video that gave me technical difficulties. So cute little sitting cat. And of course, now we have our stocking cat. Just so fun. So much we can do with these. And they're just so easy to do. So if you're looking for a really good, easy, and inexpensive craft project, you can get a big box of pink erasers for like $6, I think this cost me, for 24. And you can do 2 stamps on each, so it's a bargain. And this speedball carving tool set, I want to say on Amazon it's maybe 10 or 12 bucks. It's pretty cheap. And it absolutely is all that you need. So for under 20 bucks, we need a stamp pad too. Now, I already had a stamp pad, so let's say under 25 bucks. For not very much money, you can have hours and hours of fun, loads of creativity, and just a really good creative play. So get out there and make a good mess today, friends, and join me for another creative coffee hour again soon.